All right, welcome to Bishop Chronicles. As you know, your boy is like an international man of mystery. I can't tell you where I am right now. I'm in somewhere in the UK. You ever see those James Bond things like somewhere United Kingdom, location not revealed, Black Ops. That's your boy. Okay. I'm on Black Ops out here doing jujitsu, chilling. Um, and I love the UK. Y'all know how long I've been coming out here. I just got done teaching at IMA Leeds, crazy history of the half guard seminar. Thank everybody for coming out for that. Then I went to Leicester Shoot Fighters, you know what I'm saying? Did it again, had a fantastic time, you know what I'm saying, at Leicester Shoot Fighters, which is one of the hardest OG MMA schools in the game. Nasty grappling, nasty kicking and punching. Don't get stolen on, don't get injured. And one of those who might injure you is my man Sanjay. You know what I'm saying? Also known on Instagram as Notepad Wisdom. We became cool 5 or 6 years ago. How long we been cool now?
Yeah, about that long, man.
Yeah,
Before
five
all
or
the
six years.
COVID malarkey.
Mm-hmm. And he's in Leicester. Was one of the G's at Leicester Shoot Fighters, and one of the main reasons I got to go there. But what he does is really, really special. Sanjay, tell him about your page and what you do.
My brother, man, thank you so much. I mean, first and foremost, thank you for having me on. I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
it. I love you, man, and everything that you do. Blessed every day. As a result, anybody out there that's watching this now that taps me up and says, "Look, where's your man Adisa at?" I'll be like, "I can't tell you. We can't talk."
That's
It's
right. It's all Black Ops, man.
it's all Black Ops, man. We can't talk. I'm sorry. I can't. I got nothing to say. Don't talk to me about it. Yeah, Notepad Wisdom is the project. It has many, many different facets. It goes into lots of different things. Mentoring is one of the big ones. Having lived a life where
Yeah,
potentially it got thick, I was able to survive that. So a lot of my work now is based around mentoring young kids,
yeah,
different generations, different genders, different religions, races, creeds, whatever you want to do it. If you're a young person in the UK that needs help, I'm trying to put you back on the path the best way I possibly can and help to provide that knowledge if possible. So that was one of the biggest things. I work in schools, do a lot of interview coaching as well, because we're finding that young people are struggling when it comes to the place of work.
yeah,
Yeah, so I'm trying to help them out with that and the confidence. In a previous life, was heavily involved in the UK hip hop scene as well, which
yeah.
yeah, I think is a big
He's got
connection.
tracks on Spotify. I've heard them and they're dope.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the ones that are left, the ones that
Yeah,
so there was a lot of in the younger days. I'd certainly not that I was within the top 1,000, but open mic battles were
but you were
fun.
in the culture and you were doing it, right? I mean, like,
Love.
I rapped. I was close to getting a deal with my crew, but does that mean I was one of the best ever? Hell nah. But a lot of times the people that make the culture happen aren't necessarily the ones that climb all the way to the top. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. So it's just fun. Saw a lot of people coming up, including I thought about it the other day. I was in a freestyle cipher with one time in London with Riz Ahmed.
no
Yeah,
kidding.
because back in the days when he first started his career as a UK hip hop MC, he was incredible. He was
Oh, I
really
can
good.
imagine.
Yeah, but you could
Yeah,
tell
no.
then this guy's not hanging around. He's
Yeah,
gonna,
he's all the
he's
way
gonna,
up.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
gonna
no,
do it.
no, no. That's real. That's real. That's how I felt when I met Saphir. When I met
Oh,
Saphir, he did a rap called, I still don't remember what it's called. He rapped for me in a garage where my
yeah,
friend was a mechanic at. And he did a track called either I'll Do the Time or
yeah,
I'll Take the Rap. And
yeah,
basically, it was about like he does a robbery with his friends. They have to separate to get away from the cops. He gets caught. And basically, the rap was about like, I won't snitch. I'll just
yeah.
do the time. So it was, I'll do the rap or I'll do the time. And I remember hearing that shit and being like, oh, dude,
There's levels.
you know what I mean? R.I.P. Saphir. But so, one of the things that we're talking about today was based off something I saw on Instagram. And as I say this, I'm apologizing to the person who made the original post because someone sent it to me and I don't remember who it was. But essentially, what we're going to talk about today is how becoming an adult and a parent specifically changes how you see and experience what hip hop was.
Mm.
Okay. There may be some rappers who get offended by what happens in this podcast today. That is not my concern, right? Because we all did what we did, we said what we said, and we have to atone, figure it out, or explain ourselves. Or, sometimes there's nothing to explain. This is where I was at that time, and it's probably not ideal, and that's enough, right? But let's talk about what it means as a parent.
Mm.
So What the post was something from the Beastie Boys, who, if anyone knows my life, the Beastie Boys have always been my favorite rap crew probably ever,
Mm.
right? Because I came into hip hop to have fun. I got political, I got spiritual, I got knowledge of self through hip hop, but I came in and I hope most people came in to have fun. I loved the Beastie Boys production. I love their rhyme patterns. I love all kinds of stuff about the Beasties, right? And one of my favorite songs was New Style. Even at that time, I knew they were wild. But
Mm.
this particular rhyme even then stood out to me, right? And that's what this IG post was about. It's about this line from Mike D from the Beastie Boys. On the song New Style, the New Style, he says, if I played guitar, I'd be Jimmy Page. The girls I like are underage. And so what the guy on Instagram shows is that not only is that line completely out of pocket, right? But
Mm.
that if you look up Jimmy Page on Wikipedia, apparently he had some type of underage charge or series of charges that were a part of it. And so, like, obviously, Mike D was incredibly intentional when he said that, right? Because I did, I always liked Jimmy Page as a black suburban dude who liked rock music, AC/DC, Zeppelin, etc., Ozzy, right? I knew that he existed. I knew he was dope, but I didn't know what that meant because it was 1986, 87, whatever. You know what I mean? Like underage, it was just like whatever, kind of like, hey, that doesn't sound okay. But then like, what does that mean? And no one ever mentions it, right? Um, and then a few days later, true story, I'm chilling in Leeds doing some yoga, listening to rap music, because that's what I do. I do yoga to rap music.
Of course, of course.
And one of the Bay Area's legends, Too Short, is rapping. Who doesn't love some Too Short? Now, of
Mm.
course, he's misogynistic. That's what he's known for. That's what he's known for. Um, but I heard him in the song Freaky Tales, which is his legendary, probably arguably his breakout song, right? That made the world pay attention to him. And he mentions underage girls twice back to back. As many times as I've heard this song, and I've heard this song a million times. First, let me tell you how I got hip to Too Short.
Mm.
My uncle, my uncle bought a house in West Oakland, still lives there. And he used to have the old school, one of the first Broncos back in the 80s, the GMC Jimmies, right? So he had this red and black Jimmy. Everybody wanted that car. He has his car, and someone steals it from in front of his house not long after he moved there. They take off, crash it, total the car, and the only thing that survived the crash
It was the tape.
was a Too Short cassette. Goes, hey man, you listen to Too Short? I was like, I know. I just said, yeah. I learned about Too Short from a TV show called Home Turf. So I knew who Too Short was, but I didn't hear any of his music. Home Turf was the premier hip hop show of the Bay Area and probably the West Coast.
Mm.
And Dominique DePrima, shout out Dominique DePrima, was such a pioneer at the time. She interviews Too Short, so I knew who he was because of that. So when my uncle was like, do you know Too Short? I said, yeah. He goes, well, here's his tape. It's the only thing that survived the crash. These motherfuckers done crashed my shit, whatever. I was like, all right, cool. So I took it home. I'm listening to Too Short. I'm like, oh, snap. This is the guy from, I got it. Let's listen to these lyrics. I met this girl, thick as hell, only 16, said her name was Linnell. I took her to my house. I could not wait. Her shit was much tighter than a century safe. Let me tell you this if we're talking young. Met another girl, said her name was Yvonne. Always talking about having fun. Once again, at the pad, I had it going on. Now, right before we started this, I had my good man look up Too Short's age at the age of this release. The release of the song was 1987, and Too Short was how old?
21, we worked it.
He was 21 years old. All right, so that's two strikes against hip hop on this underage weirdness. But now, the third strike. Let me say also, it's not the only strike. There's probably others. If we want to get granular, we could probably go behind. But the thing is that this song is a complete song about underage sex.
Yeah,
It's not just like a line.
yeah.
Mike D, out of pocket, no question. I'm not going to sit here and defend Mike D. Too Short, obviously,
Out
right?
of pocket.
His lyrics speak for himself. I don't speak for Too Short. I speak for Deese. You know what I'm saying? Um, but this one is from one of the best, most knowledgeable hip hop icons ever.
We just need to strap in a seatbelt before you proceed. Put your tray tables up and
Mm,
get prepared for landing.
buckle that ass in.
All of that.
The artist,
Oh Lord.
I'll tell you the acronym first. Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone.
Yeah.
KRS One, also known as the teacher. And he brings us a song in what year?
Oh, 1992, I believe it was.
1992. And the song title?
I forgot which one it is. Where was it?
What's the song title?
Oh, so it was on Sex and Violence, and this was oh damn it. 13 and Good. From
13.
Sex and Violence, no less. The album title should give you a clue as to where this is going.
Mm,
13 and Good.
13 and Good.
I mean, that's a
So,
blatant title, bro.
oh my God. 13 and Good. So let's take a look here.
Oh dear.
13 and Good. You got to forgive me. The signal where I am is a little sketch. Do you
Oh,
do you have any of those lyrics in front of you?
I do.
All
Uh,
right. Would
if
you
we
like to
can,
share any with the with the class today, sir?
well, right for the class, the
Yeah.
drink that I sip implies that this is it. She looked about 26. I ain't dizzy. It's time to get busy. Welcome, female, is in my arms. Now I mean, for a start, that verse there, he ain't drunk.
Mm. And he's
Just
not
basically,
blaming it on the alcohol.
yeah, I ain't dizzy. I'm not high. I'm not on narcotics. I
Yeah.
mean, and so I'm 20. Oh, here we go. Ask a question, no need for guessing. Hey, baby, how old are you? 21, 24, maybe 22? I'm 25. She shook and kind of nodded. And then she said, he, I'm only 13. 13, I need a quick escape. That's statutory rape. But she was good, 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 good. So,
Wow.
so
So
I
this
mean,
is like full acknowledgement of what's happening, and it's
did
just
it?
like, yo.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And then in the course of it, this was actually a very dark song
Mm.
because the conclusion of this song is that this girl's father figures out that she's dating an older man and he is a police officer. And what he does is he isn't is this the one where the dad has sex with the guy? That's how this ends, doesn't it?
You're going to jail. My daddy's a police chief. She's crying. He grabbed the daughter. Well, also as well, the father beats the holy life out of his daughter.
Oh, is that what this is?
Yeah. Daddy walked in, the whole scene kind of changed. He grabbed his daughter and almost beat the girl insane. So
That's right.
now we're getting into domestic parental violence.
Right. Because he just walked in on his daughter, so he's hitting her because he's seeing the sex act pop off, and
Yeah.
she's crying down the hall. Um,
I mean,
yeah, I'm sorry, Daddy. I slept with an older man. He
mm,
said, "Don't worry, the 45 is in my hand. I'll be there before you can count to four. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's at my door." She said, "See what you did? You caused me all this grief. Your daddy, my daddy's a police chief,
mm,
right?" So then the dad says to KRS One in this song, For years, I've been looking for a big, strong man. I've got an apartment out in Brooklyn. Only my daughter and I live there. You can see my daughter anytime, anywhere, but it's you that I want to be mine, and the price tag is your behind. Don't worry, it'll be good. So basically, the police chief forced KRS One to have lots of sex, allegedly against his will, according to the story.
According to the story, I just have to quote something because when we were talking about this, there's a song by J. Rue the Damager called "You're Playing Yourself," which is off the Wrath of the Math album, and there's a set of lyrics in the first verse. Never receive currencies for moving a kilo or an ounce, make 'em bounce to this fake pimp free flow. I never knew hustlers confessed in stereo. Or on video, get caught, you know who turned states, evidence, murder, weapon, confession, and fingerprints. Mama always said, watch what comes out your mouth. I mean, tight case from the DA from north to down south. Now, I'm saying he's basically just kind of said, you know, if I mean, in the way hip hop is now, and I've seen a few documentaries about it, particularly how hip hop on trial is the
Yeah,
thing. This
yeah.
that song, if an accusation was leveled against Mr. KRS One, that's evidence, man.
You
And
better
I'm
believe.
sure the DA is going to be there going, Your Honor, may we present this to the bar?
But now, especially with like Young Thug and some of these other guys, there's a bunch of other different rap artists through the history of the world. I remember, I think, with Mac Dre, this happened a lot, that there's this been always this argument about whether or not lyrics should be admissible
Mm,
in court,
mm,
right? So, if I were KRS One's attorney and someone wanted to bring those lyrics up, I would say, look, obviously this song is um a storytelling about the dangers of um you know how certain men live in New York at the time, not a
factual
not a,
depiction.
a lifestyle, not a lifestyle of my client,
Mm,
right? But the detail of perspective is so high, it would be very hard for a lot of adult men to believe that there's a huge gap between what's on that song and what's in his head and heart. And I, right now, to be clear, I am not accusing KRS One of anything.
yes. No,
I'm
we
not
have not.
accusing Too Short of anything. I'm not accusing Mike D of anything.
Yep.
But
Yep.
what I'm saying is, and this brings us to what I call the center of the shrubbery maze,
Mm-hmm.
is even at those ages, even when I remember when that song came out, I bumped it 100 times, 1,000 times, because I bumped that album, Sex and Violence, a million times. So I'm not
Mm,
gonna pretend that I didn't play that all the time when it came out, and Too Short and Beasties. I just confessed myself to playing this a million times. I was unaware of what those lyrics actually meant, to be honest, because I was an immature, weirdo, young person myself. And it wasn't until I became a parent
mm,
that these kinds of lyrics started making me say, hey, wait a minute, right? You know what I'm saying? And
mm.
so let's loop around to what we were talking about the other day when you were explaining how you and your family play different music, and the issues that you had being a lover and participant and historian of hip hop culture in the UK, and what you had to wrestle with ethically when you wanted to play rap music. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you kindly. I'm gonna before I get into that, I'm gonna loop it back to one other thing. Where was your uncle when he crashed his GMC? Where did he live? West Oakland.
West Oakland.
So when you said to me everybody wanted that truck, the first thing that went through my head was somebody's jacking that truck. Because it's West Oakland. And lo and behold, as the story unfolds, it ended. Yeah, I had a vision in my head of where that story was going to go, being as it was indeed West Oakland. Shout out to West Oakland. And it ended exactly, exactly as I thought it was going to be. So, to your point, we as a family, I have a daughter who's 10 years old. Okay, and I have a son who's 8 years old. And yes, I am a lover of hip hop. You know, it is very, very close to my heart. I would even go so far as to say I'm probably more religious. It's probably more of a religion to me than it is
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I live
I
the,
do.
yeah, each one teach one lifestyle is how I live. So we used to do this thing when my kids were younger, where before bedtime, before we take them upstairs for a bath time, or we go and read them a story or whatever it is, so they were like five or six and younger. We get out
Hmm.
YouTube, put it on the TV, say, right, you can choose a music video that you can listen to just to unwind a little bit. And it could be anything at all, right? The music tastes to be crazy. Like, for example, my son went through this phase of playing the music video to Summer in the City by Quincy Jones because it
Mm.
was like the weird psychedelic colors. Somebody had done like a YouTube version, and he just
Yeah.
it was great.
Just into it.
Yeah, he just loved it, and it's a great song, sampled a lot. But the difficulty we always had was I wanted to play hip hop videos. Now, trying to find a 90, well, from 90 to, in fact, today, trying to find a hip hop video that you can show a 6-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy, for example, that is okay to watch is a very, very difficult thing because the songs that I like will have violence in the videos. They will have a lot of women in the videos shaking booty and all of that kind of stuff and so on and so on. And I'm also going to come to a story about Cisco, the thong song video, which I think is relevant to this conversation.
Yikes.
Yeah, in terms of consent. I'll come back to that. So that was really hard. And one of the artists that we settled on a large majority of the time was Missy Elliott. Because if you,
Right.
yeah, for real. Because lyrically, all of her music videos, there's not that much cussing and cursing, and
Yeah.
there are mostly child friendly. But a large majority of the videos are works of art. So
Right.
yeah, so if you take like the video to I'm Better, where she's got the swimming pool in the background, all the
Hmm.
that kind of stuff going, and so on and so on, it's actually pretty kid friendly, and she's pretty cool with it as well. So but it was really difficult because there are so many other hip hop songs that I want my kids to hear that are wonderfully educational,
Right.
wonderfully
Right.
relevant, and would make a lot of sense. And in some cases, the beats are just better, the rapping's just
Right.
better. But the
Right.
video to those songs, I can't show my children these songs, man, because that's not how I want to treat women. That's not how I want to treat some men.
And that's not how you want your son to believe about women.
100%. And I've always said this in the women's empowerment stuff that I talk about. You can say, well, we need to empower our women, and that's correct. But the men are the problem. So they're the
Mm.
pipeline. All right. That's the pipeline. Women, I know, got their own beefs between each other, and that's fine. You do with you.
Real,
But
real quick, I have a great friend. Her name is Tembisa M. Shaka. She is a foundational kind of like culture keeper from the West Coast. And she used to run all these different high-end symposiums on hip hop for like so long, so long. Shout out to Tembisa M. Shaka. She's also an author of oh my God, why am I blanking on this book right now? Anyway, you look up Tembisa M. Shaka. She's got a book about women in hip hop business,
go.
okay, that you need to get. I will post about it. Why? In fact, what am I talking about? Let's look it up right now. But my point is, she has always said when I would talk about sexism and da da da, she would always say, Adisa, you have to talk to the men.
Yeah, man.
You have to talk to the men. And
Real.
I've always believed her and in being right on that. But I also have said to so many of the women who have talked to me about misogyny and violence against women and things like that, like, like I would always say, women, you need to learn jujitsu, period. You need to learn jujitsu. And a lot of women, like Timbisa, among many, 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 many others, right, will be like, well, you need to talk to the men. And I'm like, yeah, I do, but I'm in the minority, and men like me are in the minority,
Yes.
right? And so, unless and until men like you and I have access to more men who
Mhm.
will listen in a consistent manner, the women need to still defend themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Don't go. Yeah, yeah. You need to protect your
And
border.
that's like a jagged pill for both of us to
Yeah,
swallow,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? But continue, and I'm gonna pull up the name of her book.
And on that, where did you see my 10-year-old daughter this week?
She was amazing,
Right next to me on the mats, kicking my ass.
right? Learning, right?
Yeah.
Learning from father with a cluster of good men, which is part of the modeling thing, right? Because with my kids, that was my whole thing, is that if you were a weirdo ass man, you would not be around my kids.
100%.
This was kind of how I always sought to model the kind of men that my daughters would like, right?
Mm,
Because like we can make excuses. We all got homies that we know are crazy, a little off chain, whatever, you know
real
what I'm saying?
talk, real talk.
Right. And that's just the game, right? Of life, right? But like the men that I choose to have around my family, very different, right? Because I want that. But continue what you're saying while I look up this book.
Yeah, so and in fact I'm gonna get this book as well. I'm gonna buy this for me. So it becomes very, very difficult to find within hip hop culture as a whole, I think, to find firstly music videos that are safe and a lot of songs that are lyrically safe as well. And I know there's
Hmm.
going to come a point where I won't have a choice in what my kids listen to because they'll just be doing their own thing anyway. But I would hope that by that point, we've educated our girls enough that they listen to these lyrics and they're able to assess them for what they really are. So is
Hmm.
this guy or female rapper even? Because let's face it, I've heard, we have Little Kim, we have Nicki Minaj,
Hmm.
we have Cardi B,
Hmm.
who I feel Cardi B and Nicki Minaj in particular are the female versions of some of these lyrics that we've just talked about, right?
True life. And you know, not to cut you off, it just hit me. MC Light has a song about liking to have sex with underage men. And when people try to jam her up about it, I don't remember what it was, but I will tell you, in discussions of double standards, she was not held to the same standard as any of the men that we listed. Real
Yes,
quick, Lisa M. Shaka's book is called Put Your Dreams First. Handle Your Entertainment Biz. Put Your Dreams First. Handle Your Entertainment Biz by Tembisa M. Shaka. And it's Thembisa, Tembisa. And it's capital M and then Shaka, Shaka. Listen,
on it.
she's one of the best women writers in the history of hip hop, and this book is amazing. It was in production with some press. That press, I guess, shut down. She got the rights to her book back. So when you buy this book now, she's getting the money. Support that
Good.
one. That's all I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
respect. Yeah, respect and power, man. That's a
Yeah,
queen
yeah,
right there.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
how
for
business
sure.
is dealt with. Yeah. So and to your point, so this I don't think this underage thing in hip hop is exclusive to one gender. I think there is a
Mm,
whole cultural issue, and I'm going to come on to this, and I want to link it into the consent issue, right?
right.
So for me, there's
Are you
two.
sure you can do that without linking it though? I mean,
Yeah, I got you. I have,
okay,
I
okay,
have one. I have one.
okay.
All right.
I'm
So
stressed, but go ahead.
I oh yeah, if anything happens, it's your podcast, not mine.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. I'm stressed.
So we now okay, let's get the legalities out of the way. Anything alleged, we'll use the words alleged, and we're
Yes,
not accusing anybody of anything.
we're
Okay.
not.
None of this is factual. This is all conceptual, and this is all
We're just
opinion
talking
based.
about art and its interpretation.
Talking about art, yeah, yeah, and most of it is whack. Okay,
Yeah.
so I have for the longest time always felt that consent in hip hop has been a big issue, and here's what I mean by it as well. So I remember Noriega, the rapper, War Report, Capone Noriega,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah. Drink
telling,
champ. We love him.
yeah, yeah, big fan. So him telling a story about he got invited to the video shooting of Thong Song by Cisco,
Mm,
and he was like, I mean, that was crazy. That
I
was
can
crazy.
imagine.
You can imagine. And so he also said, he said a lot of the women that worked in that video had just literally turned up. It was a case of, oh yeah, what you want to do tonight? Oh, I'm cool, man. Oh, my homie's got this party. Why don't you just come down? Okay, fine, come down.
Mm-hmm.
Are you dancing around with your butt out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no consent there or anything like that. And I don't even think, well, in fact, I know for a fact, a lot of these hip hop videos that still go down now, and a lot of these studio sessions that go down, they're not conducted in the way that should be conducted. So, for example, if I want to go into work in a school, I have to get security checked, which is
Right. There's
DBS,
all kinds of, yeah, yeah.
all of that,
What do they call
safeguarding,
the one out here? What do they call the background check out here? Because I had to do one to
DBS,
work out of school. What's it called?
DBS.
Yeah, I had to do a DBS check, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Pass.
Safeguard. Yeah.
And in any school that I work in, right? In school environments, you have to, in America, they call it a live scan. So in America,
Okay.
you take a live, it's the same thing, but they have two levels. They have like a state level and then they
Yeah.
have a federal level,
Yeah.
right? And so with the DBS, normally in schools, you do the highest, and it's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same live scan in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah. They know. Now, why is that not in place in hip hop? You know, if you're employing, if you're doing a video and you're employing a model, we need a girl to come in and dance on this video, whatever it is. Where's these checks and balances? You know, or are we just going to say, "Can you
I
do it?"
think that they do exist in the video world specifically, but I don't think that they're as enforced as they used to be. In fact, I think that's an interesting conversation,
Yeah.
right? I don't think that they're enforced as they used to be.
Oh.
I because I've been on a lot of uh on a lot of video sets, and there does seem to be a lot of paperwork, but I
Mm,
could also see where that paperwork, like who manages that? Who
mm,
verifies that? Who, you know what I'm saying? Right. And then there's also probably the issue of, and this is probably how they get around it, or what they would probably consider unpaid extras.
mm,
Right. So if you're just there, and by being, because a lot of times what they'll do is there'll be a sign, right? Be like, here's the sign, and uh, the sign will say, if you're here right now, you
mm,
consent to being on film.
mm,
That's what it says. So if you're at the house party, if you're at the park, if you hey, you know what I'm saying, you consent to being filmed. And so
mm.
that's how a lot of them uh are bypassing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which, I don't know how you get around that, but that 13 and good girl might be in that park. They could be in the
Yeah,
house party, and then it
it's
escalates from
true.
there. And then you get this Diddy situation.
And that's how I think what's his name got caught up. Takashi 6 9, right? Because it was an underage girl who went to a house party, and he was on video, I think, or I don't know whether he was on video or not, but I do know it ends up being that this girl was a runaway. She goes to this party, she's kicking it with him, and his that's how a lot of his legal problems actually started. Is that this
Yeah.
girl was at something, and he was like, "Look, I didn't know her age when she showed up." You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? And nobody said anything or whatever. Like, how many times do you think that's happened in New York City?
Oh man.
It's
I
happening
mean,
right now in New
yeah,
York
yeah, yeah.
and
I,
LA
yeah,
and London and
yeah.
Leicester. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff, that's what Gangstar would call a daily operation.
It
You know
is
what
a
I'm
daily
saying?
operation. And
And
with
which is sad, right? Which is sad. And I struggle with this, you know what I mean? I struggle with this as a father. I struggle with this working with so many kids, and just
mm,
in general, whether it's in jujitsu or whether it's in schools or
mm,
whatever.
mm,
But the other thing that I've really struggled with, I was thinking about patriarchy, and I was thinking about like white supremacy as a system. I'm not talking about, look, the man's name who really coined the term white supremacy is a guy named Neely Fuller Jr. I'm not having a big conversation. Look up his work if you don't know it, okay? Seriously. But like basically he describes white supremacy as a system, right? That deals with labor, law, entertainment, right?
yeah,
Politics, war, religion, sex, and I'm leaving something out. Law, if I haven't said, I think it's 8 things.
that's all.
Okay, I think that's what it is, okay?
Enforcement.
Right? So those are the tentacles of white supremacy and how they function. And the idea is like white men at the top make the decisions, right, that trickle down into how we can and cannot function, see or do not see ourselves or each other, whatever. Okay, fine. So I know people that'll say like, like for instance, when it comes to police violence, that police violence is a woke topic. For the record, I have never seen an individual who used the term woke that could define it.
Mm,
Ever.
mm, for real.
Define wokeness. Anti-wokeness. I'm anti-woke.
For
What does
real.
woke mean though?
Yeah, what
Actually,
up?
never been able to find them, but I'm gonna throw that to the left. Patriarchy, right? Like I don't deny that patriarchy is a real thing, has been, will be, probably forever. Okay. But people will do what they can to off balance it, and should.
Mhm.
Now, if someone says to me, well, I think that violence against Black people by the police isn't that big of a deal, you know, da 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 da. One of the things I thought about one day was, well, what city in North America are the Black people juiced about the police? Right? Like if police violence against Black people as a community isn't real, right?
Mm,
'Cause
mm,
that's what say like NWA, they don't know what they're talking about. Ice-T, he doesn't know what he's talking. Look at all these songs about police violence. Bok, 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 bok. Every generation seems to have it, right?
yeah.
But they don't know their own experience. Okay, fine. So let's throw all rap music to the left. Here's my point. What community in America? Like, it's not like if you go to you know, some random city in California, they're like, man, I don't know about anybody else out here, boy, but the cops is chilling, but you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? There's my boy, Sergeant McGillicuddy. What's up, my boy?
Yeah,
You know
what's
what I'm
up,
saying?
man?
He makes sure we good out here. Bro, ain't nobody talking like that. That should tell you that there's not a community of people that are like, man, the cops aren't like that here. That should
Mm,
tell you the cops
yeah,
just tend to be like that,
yeah.
right? In the same way, patriarchy, right? If you use that as the umbrella, right? And people will say, oh, well, patriarchy's not real or it's not as impactful. Da, da, da. Well, what religion, what culture, what city, what state, what country, what, right? Will you be the women be like, what are you talking about? We're respected and safe
Mm,
everywhere. We're educated on all of our rights. You know what I'm saying? And they are enforced so that we get to be made the maximum out of
yeah.
our potential. No one says that. Women at no point in time in the history of Earth have said that. There have been better moments and worse moments, mostly worse moments,
Yeah.
right? But like, if you don't think that patriarchy is real, that's one of the ways you can do it. Where do the women in the world say, oh, we got a gravy here?
Yeah,
Not
it's chilling.
really anywhere. There's always a version of it, like shackling their ability to be whatever, you know, forever. And in some way, there
Mm,
are obviously, you know, variants of ability, access, education, but it's not lit. You know what I mean? And so when I look at hip hop, because we always like to think of hip hop as very progressive, and it has been for the most, but also very violent,
mm,
right? It can be very sexist, but also very liberating, right? And
mm.
so I struggle with this because, you know, in my opinion, of course, I'm old now at 54. I'm like, at least to KRS One's credit, he put out Brown Skin Woman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
He put out Brown Skin Woman. That's a beautiful song lyrically. The beat's knocking, the hook is rocking, right? Public Enemy, Revolutionary Generation,
Yes.
right? That song on Fear of a Black Planet, I think, right? And I don't think I would actually argue that as sexist and misogynistic as hip hop has always been, that it is at the same time been the most celebratory of women in general and Black women particularly. You know, Paris, Asada's song, like, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of those kind of songs. You know, Poor Righteous Teachers had a whole different series called Shakila, My Three Wives, whatever, and they have their own variants of, you know, of sexism at times and whatnot. I'm talking specifically about the Poor Righteous Teachers songs. But you know, Wise Intelligent has always championed Black women and Black family and stuff like that. So it's hard to reconcile these things in the same music form at the same time. It is.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I'm gonna throw two massive curveballs at you now as well. One in the tracks as well about that kind of stuff. We got Mind Sex by Dead Presidents, which is on Let's Get Free.
Shout out to Dead Prez,
Yeah,
Mindset.
stick. And
Let's play
and
chess on the futon. And then we
yeah,
have a
man.
salad with croutons. I love me
Yeah,
a good crouton. You know,
yeah. Yeah. So there's that. And then I'm gonna throw you a real curveball in a minute and I'll explain why. But circling back to Tekashi 69, the guy's a low life scumbag. He turns states.
period. Trash.
He's a child abuser and he's an awful rapper, so nobody gonna miss him.
And he's a snitch.
He's a straight snitch and he's a terrible rapper. He was never any good, so let's move on. So
Hold on, wait a minute. I am
no,
not, I'm gonna pause you on that moment.
he's a terrible rapper.
If I'm being honest about Tekashi 69,
Don't do it.
I don't like the way he look. I don't like the way he act. I don't like that he's snitching. I don't like a whole bunch of things.
Don't do it.
But
Don't do it.
I want for a moment, we're going to remove everything we know and dislike about Takashi.
Yeah.
Everything we know and dislike.
Yeah.
Bro, that song Kiki is rocking. That
Well,
beat is rocking. Do not play games. Billy,
yeah.
Billy is rocking. Don't play games.
No,
Man,
hey.
when that fool first came out, the beats and the rhymes were live. I
Oh,
don't care. I know there's a lot of things wrong with Takashi 69, but a lot of his early, I'm just talking about like his first 5 or 7 joints, specifically that one with Fetty Wap,
mm,
was hard. That was my introduction, I think, to Fetty Wap, maybe.
yeah.
And I thought he was dope in the beginning. He fell off quick, but I thought he was really dope, and I understood why he was liked until we all discovered he was what he was. And back to you.
Well, I mean, I disagree with everything you said as much as you as much as you disagree with my other opinion that we've talked about so many times.
You
But
said I
hey,
disagree with everything you said.
yeah,
Continue.
I'm just gonna. I respect you. I love you. You're my brother every day.
Yes,
But
the
no.
love is mutual.
Yeah, but no. So we now. So I'm gonna get to the curveball, which is gonna bend your head. We all know as well. Now, I don't know for certain in that song whether or not this individual was chasing an underage girl, but we know where it ended up. If you listen to the first song on Kendrick Lamar's Section 80,
Mm,
he gets entrapped by a girl, goes to the house, and suddenly finds himself looking at 3 guys in hoodies. Okay. Now, there's not an insinuation that she was underage or otherwise, but there is an insinuation that she was young. Okay.
mm,
He made himself took himself down other side of Rosecrans and got himself jacked up. Okay. That's so
mm.
it can end badly for you as well, as Kendrick will probably tell you. Um
Indeed. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar, King of the West.
yes. Yes, I would go, yeah,
Mm, mm,
100%.
mm, mm.
Yeah, yeah. And rapidly escalating towards people's top 10 lists.
Mm, mm,
Am-
mm, mm, mm.
Amazing artist. Amazing. The curveball I'm gonna throw you is What's It Gonna Be by Busta Rhymes and Janet Jackson. And here's why.
I'm
Because
intrigued.
yes, and here's why. Because for 2 reasons. First of all, that song is about I hesitate to use this term, but I will use it anyway because I heard Busta Rhymes use it when he talked about that song. Because it's about pure black love. It's like in that
Hmm.
song, he's looking at a black woman and he's not treating her like, oh, you might just be my shorty, you might be my side piece.
Hmm.
He's treating Janet with the queen energy that she deserves,
Word.
right?
Which
100%.
is understandable.
Understandable. And he said this as well. Like when he went to the studio first time, he had to rewrite some of the verses because he was like, these verses are good, but they're not putting Janet on the pedestal that she is as a black woman, right? Because she's
Understandable.
yeah, level.
Continue.
And so but a lot of people hear it and think, oh, it's just an R&B hip hoppy track where he's just trying to make out with some woman and
Mm.
get his end off, and that's it.
He's
It's
trying to
not.
holler.
Yeah, he's trying to holler. That's deeper than that. In that song, if you look at it, he's trying to connect with this woman and die old with them.
Mm.
You know the kind of stuff I'm trying. Like I have this I
Salute
always said,
that. I mean,
you feel what I'm saying? I've always had this vision of me and my wife. I've always said to her, I said, I know for certain we're going to be old, decrepit people. We're going to be those two old couple wandering around the
you
park,
are.
cursing off at young
I
people.
can I can vouch for that.
Yeah, and I think he's got that kind of vision in that song. Like if
Yeah.
Janet was a woman, that's where I want to
That
be.
energy.
Yeah, that energy. And then you watch the music video as well, all that Terminator 2 stuff and all the crazy liquid stuff, which was
I don't
groundbreaking.
at all, but
Well,
I,
it's at the time it was a groundbreaking video, but the centerpiece, even though it's Buster's song, is not him, it's Janet. So the
yeah.
whole project, from the lyrics to the video to
Yeah.
everything about it, is about I'm taking this woman and I'm gonna put her on the pedestal she deserves to be on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna worship her as is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I
Mm-hmm.
found that after that period, there were about 10 other songs where a lot of artists that previously had been accused, that could quite easily have been accused of being misogynistic, suddenly looked at that song and went, oh, I need to switch up here. How I'm
Mm.
writing about women. because this is a different ball game altogether. Now, it could have just been they just saw the revenue figures.
But it just could have been about the cash rules, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And just went, damn, because that song broke Europe, it broke Asia,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
broke
it
the
was a
globe
global smash. There's no
everywhere.
question. Yeah,
Yeah.
global smash.
If that's the motive, fine. But the point is, there was a whole stack of songs after that that kind of put women in the pedestal that they should be in as well. And I thought that song was the curveball. I thought it was a turning point for hip hop, that song. And it was a very, very pivotal moment that made everybody go. I sadly can't play that song to my children because lyrically it's still a
Yeah, I
bit,
mean, yeah, understood, understood.
so that's my curveball. And then the other side of it, if we circle back to where we started about, we also have to ask the question of why are some of these rappers talking about underage girls? Well, I tend to think a lot of hip hop, you talk about the stuff that you don't have. So if you've grown up as an oppressed young man in the hood that you in, and you ain't getting any female attention, when you finally get the female attention, you're going to absorb as much of it as you can, and you might let a few morals slip here and there as well. And that's when I think a lot of these problems can come in. Chris Rock always had that great thing, and I'm not going to paraphrase exactly what he said because he used some words
Yeah,
that I feel are very derogatory as well.
understood.
But he was very open in kind of saying, look, if you give certain black athletes money, they will probably spend it on rims and shining cars.
Right, I remember that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That sort of thing, as opposed to empowering the community. Now, I kind of
yeah, yeah.
feel that if you put certain people in a position where they have access to women, they're probably going to
It's the
do
same vibes.
same kind of vibes. And I think that's where this Diddy situation is a good example of that as well. That's where my head is at with it.
Yeah, and I think this is why artists and it's an impossible thing to manage, but this is why as an artist, if you don't know who you are before you blow up, you're bound to go get
The LL
derailed
story,
horribly.
the
You know,
LL Cool J
you
story,
derail yourself, not get derailed. You will derail yourself horribly.
the LL story that we talked about.
Yeah,
For those who
yeah,
don't know it, LL Cool J got married, and we all know what he's like. What his image is like.
yeah.
The
Round the
ladies
way
love it.
girl, all that.
Yeah, ladies love her, for God's sake. He takes his wife with him on tour, and he's very open in saying, I got married to my wife. I took her to every concert because when my wife's there, I can't mess up. Because he knows what he's going to do if he's on his
He
own.
knows how they throw it at him too. By the
Yeah,
way,
for real. When my wife's there, I can't make a mistake. So I cut that element out straight off.
straight and narrow.
Straight and narrow. Done.
Yeah, I mean it's really deep, man. It's really deep, and you know, I struggle with in the shadow of everything we just talked about. Quite honestly, hip hop, in my opinion, and I'm speaking from ignorance because I don't listen to it all that much, feels like it's gotten a lot worse. You
In
know, in
terms
terms
of
of, maybe it's not worse, but what I'm saying is, I don't know where the brown skinned woman or revolutionary generation song is of this modern age.
Little Sims,
Little Sims, huh?
I give you Little Sims. I see your argument, and and
Yeah,
I
I raise you a
I
little
raise
Sim.
I raise you Little Sims, who I will categorically
Where's he
say
from? What's the story?
London, London through and through. Yeah, she on Top Boy and all that. Little Sims for me is, in terms of female business people, as a female MC.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I
Yes,
do, I do, I do, I do. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm going
Yeah,
on record and saying that lady there is the best female rapper on the planet. Lyrically got it, beats got it, but her image, the way
yeah.
she
I know
portrays,
exactly who you're talking about. Bars.
yes,
And you know who else I like?
Rhapsody.
Annie.
Oh
You
yeah,
know Annie?
yeah, I know any.
She's got
Yeah,
a song called Culture.
yes,
Listen, I will play Culture on repeat for like 2 hours and not be upset at all.
and Rhapsody.
See me with my fam, that's culture.
Yeah. And and
Bro.
and Raps.
Enny. If you don't know how to spell her name, Enny. The
Yeah,
song's
yeah,
called Culture.
yeah,
Hard. She got
yeah,
so like everything she makes is hard. But
yeah.
that was my entry point into her work. Rhapsody, what? I look, but here's the thing though. No disrespect to Lil Sims, but you're not about to try and compare Lil Sims to Rhapsody, are you? I mean,
I am.
Rhapsody,
I am.
Rhapsody is,
It's ridiculous.
and you're trying to
Little
say that Lil
Zizzle.
Sims is better, bro?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
And because I think he disagrees. The brother
That's hilarious.
disagrees.
And that's no disrespect to Lil Sims. I'm saying Rhapsody though, my G.
Amazing. Lila's Wisdom was one of my favorite albums that year it came out, or however 3 or 4 years.
And she made that track with Jizza, bro. What are you talking about?
ago.
And you're
Oh yeah.
trying to say that that artist is not on the same level as Lil Sims? Is this what you're telling me? I want you to
No,
say it loud so everyone can hear you say it.
okay. Let me clarify.
Oh, now we're clarifying. I enjoy this,
Clarify.
and the
So,
floor is yours, sir. I'll
thank,
just be drinking a beverage.
thank
Go.
you kindly. If you wanna make a 1-2 list, the distance between 1 and 2 is very, very paper thin. Okay, so I will go
Back
there.
to MC Light.
Yeah, but I will still yes, but I will still say that for me, Little Sims is the best female rapper on the planet. But
Okay.
these things
I'll
change.
let you, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, because I'm in London right now and I don't want to get knifed on the underground just because I
Yeah, well, we
shout out all the roadmen out there. You're cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Roadman is dope. I'm saying, like, so with those two, I mean, you don't know what projects are going to put out. That's the
They
other.
need to do an album together. This is how we
Oh
do
my
it.
God.
They need to do an album together, not a song, an album.
You know who
Somebody
the
gonna make that happen
yeah,
and
and you
pay
know
me
who
later.
it could
But I
be?
do want my check, and he needs a check too.
Busta Rhymes could be the one that makes it happen because he's worked with them both. Because when Busta Rhymes got his Lifetime Achievement Grammy recently, Little Sims was the one who presented it to him. And if you watch his speech, he does tell a story. He's like, I was in the studio with Sims, and she dropped her verse, and he said something like, "It's the only time I've ever had to rewrite my verse that many times because I heard it. I was like, I can't put this out there."
Wow,
But he was on
that's
Rhapsody's
saying
album, yeah.
so much.
Yes, but he's worked with Rhapsody as well, so I think he could be the missing link between. My brain can't handle that if those
Come
two.
on, bro. What?
I can't handle that.
What?
But they are people. They are women who are doing it the right way, protecting their image. I mean, as much as I know that people like Cardi and Nicki, and you know some of the other ones. Who was the one I watched on Rhythm and Flow recently? I've forgotten her name now. Single name.
I think
Anyway,
I know who you're talking about.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Her. She's from Atlanta. I just think they. How can I put this? I'm gonna use the words that we'll circle back to KRS once uses that. I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. They're just not going to receive any of my money. I won't invest. I
Right?
won't invest
It's
in
not, yeah, it's
them.
not about, yeah, yeah. But you know what though, man? Look, this is where I'm gonna lose you again, probably. Um, on Cardi B's first album, she opens with a track. It was her intro rap called Get Up 10.
I heard that.
Yo,
Yeah, it's dope.
Get Up 10 is a hard ass track.
Yes.
And it's related to jujitsu, meaning in judo, because in judo they say get thrown 7 times, get up 8 times. It's the same vibe, right? It's the same energy. Like that's the hook, basically, right?
Yeah.
That she paraphrases that, right? But I felt when I heard that, I was like, you know what? She's actually dope. You know what I mean? She's actually dope. That's that. Now I know she overdoes it with the sex. I know and you know what? Like she's been accused and admitted. I don't even say accused. She's admitted to like drugging dudes and taking their money and stuff like that. And like uh she doesn't get any flack for that. And
No.
that was her actual lifestyle.
Yeah. 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 Because she get.
She was roofing dudes, right? Now, if we knew conversely, oh, CeeLo Green, didn't he get busted for
Yeah,
that?
he did.
Rapping about it? Or did he just rap? No, we need to look this up. Look up CeeLo, and then I'm gonna look up Rick Ross rapped about it. I think CeeLo got busted for it.
CeeLo Green arrested. I mean, Cardi B is all good if you want to get on the
What was he arrested for though?
right. August 29th, 2014, Mr. Green pleaded no contest to one felony count of furnishing ecstasy and was
Boom.
sentenced to 3 years of probation. So basically,
Right.
dealing, I guess.
And then there was a lyric by Rick Ross about drugging women.
Mm-hmm. claimed the woman who was with CeeLo Green was the one who brought the charges, claimed the singer drugged her. But according to this, CeeLo Green also suggested in his court case if it isn't raped if the victim is unconscious.
So Rick Ross under fire for lyrics that critics say condone date rape. The song, fuck, I'm so blind. What does this say? UOENO. Yeah. It seems to pertain to drugging a woman with Molly, slang for crystallized MDMA.
Mm.
So he got dropped by Reebok over the rape lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, what I'm saying is we got a lot of problems in hip hop,
We
right?
have
But I
huge
also,
problems in hip hop.
but I also think that it's one of the things that I've always struggled with about any conversation that we have about hip hop and its morality or lack thereof is that we're still talking about a subculture groomed by the mainstream dominant culture, also impacted by massive poverty, right? And that gang
Mm-hmm.
culture and violence, right, creates in and of itself. And then we end up like critiquing the work mainly of young people who haven't fully developed. Now, some of them have developed, but if they've grown up in a culture, remember, and if we're talking about the streets and we're talking about pimping, right? So like if we talking about a
Yeah.
lot of this underage stuff, it is a ripple effect of the pimp culture. That's a global thing. We always like to think of like pimp culture as something that happens in Oakland, in Detroit, in New York City, and Florida, and the Black communities. But pimping is a global,
Yeah.
large scale,
Anywhere there's
billion-dollar
poverty.
business every day of the week in every country, every
Yes.
city. I remember I saw this crazy documentary about this woman who I want to say she was in Russia.
Mm.
She might have been in Israel. I don't remember, but she was basically in some kind of dungeon,
Yeah. Yeah.
drugged, all kind of crazy stuff. Somehow she breaks out, gets
Yeah.
back to Russia, only to find out that her brother
Oh my God.
has like some kind of a terminal cancer, bro. And she went back
Yeah. Yeah.
where she was so she could make money for his treatment. I cried so hard seeing that.
Mm,
I cried so hard
mm,
seeing that. And that was 10 years ago, probably, maybe even more that I saw that. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
you don't think of these countries, you don't think of it, especially a lot of European countries, right? Man, come on, dude. Are you kidding me? So it's like, you know, I'm not happy with what's happening in hip hop, but it's a global problem. And hip hop, just because it's popular mainstream culture, catches the blame for a lot of what's wrong with the world. And I'm not
Yeah.
involving any artist or any lyric that we've discussed. I'm just saying, as Dead Prez would say, it's bigger than hip hop.
It is bigger than hip hop. And I've always thought that hip hop is most Def said that in the beginning of Black on Both Sides. Right at the very beginning, it's like people talk about hip hop like it's some giant in the hillsides. What is hip hop? What's going on with hip hop? They ask him, and he's like, "Well, what's going on with hip hop is what's going on with you right now. You are hip hop. You, me, everybody. So, if that's happening in the world and that's happening in hip hop, then that is just a reflection of the state of the people.
Yeah.
Sadly, I just, kind of in a summation and a conclusion, I've always thought when people ask me about hip hop, I always point to two things. I always say to them, first of all, it is the each one teach one. That's
Yeah.
the But the other thing I've said to is that thing that RZA talks about, the 9 diagrams. If you master those 9 things, freedom,
Eight
justice,
diagram.
equality. Yeah, well, the freedom, justice, equality. What was he? He talks
It's
about
12 jewels.
yeah, freedom, justice, equality, love, peace, and happiness. Was it food, clothing, and shelter? What are the other three? Knowledge, wisdom, and
My brain's
understanding.
fried right now.
Yeah,
What you
knowledge,
say it
wisdom, and
was?
understanding. Yeah, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. If you
There you
master,
go.
yeah, master those 12, or even if you get half of them right, you probably find you're a reasonably moral human being. You
All my knowledge of self-credit just went out the window for not answering that question, by the way.
and you know him as
Next time
well.
I see RZA, he's gonna be like,
What'd you do? How's this guy from the UK telling you the 12? Um, if you master those, even if you just get half of those right, you're probably going to find you'll be a reasonably moral human being. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is the key to wealth. Think anything else and you're playing
Well, here we
yourself.
go. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, freedom, justice, equality, food, clothing, shelter, love, peace, and happiness. Bam.
Yeah, there you go.
From
Yeah,
the 5% nation of gods and earths.
yeah. So those, and on top of that, each one teach one. That's 13 very, very livable moral rules. And I
Yeah.
just wish that was embedded more in the hip hop culture, and more importantly, I wish that was embedded in schools, man.
The planet. Yeah. No doubt, man. No doubt. Well, on that note, I mean, can we leave on a better note than letting RZA's knowledge and his sharing of the 5% philosophies close such a delicate,
Yes.
painful, and interesting discussion? I don't think so.
No, not at all. And by the way, can we both just say, if you're stuck or you're somebody that's involved in something, you need to reach out. We are both here.
Yep. Hit us
Happy to,
up.
happy to help. My brother, man, thank you.
Bishop Chronicles, Notepad Wisdom, IG.
Yeah, man.
All right. One love. Thanks for being on. And I appreciate you, man, so much.
Love you, man. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to Bishop Chronicles on Substack. You know what I'm saying? And make sure you hit up my man at notepad_wisdom. We out.
Yes.